Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Market Down Podcast. My name is Nick Cummings, joined this week by Dana Hernandez and James Gisante. Creative has nothing for Chad Big Bad Johnson, so he will not be on TV until further notice.
Hashtag free Chad.
All right, let's get into the news of this week. We will start with Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch went on a podcast this week. Then let me grab the name of that. Drew Garabo live feature cut of the day, and Becky was asked about the state of AEW's women's division, not WWE's, and she had some thoughts. Now, it should be noted, it very, very much seems that this was all in character. I am completely convinced this is in character, and despite that, I think she had some really good points, but we'll get into that in a second. She said, she was asked about the competition. She goes, I wish I could say yes, but unfortunately, I don't think they're represented the way we are. They don't get as much time as we get, and frankly, they're not as good as we are. We have, certainly on Raw, we have the best women's division in the world. I say that without any hesitation in my voice. We have the best women's division in the world. Competition is great, and it's great for there to be another place, and I have a very good friend, Ruby Soho, over there. And I would love to see her as champion one day. I would love to see her get the spotlight she deserves. Competition is always great. Over here, we're on another level. So I think it's fair to say that Becky doesn't think AEW's women's division is up to snuff. And James, I don't think we really do either. Like, let's be realistic. Like, every week we're here more or less not shitting on AEW's women's division, but complaining they don't get more time and they don't get more build. So, like I said, Becky's in character here, but she's, as to borrow the quote, she's out of line, but she's right.
First of all, Captain. Captain. I think it's clear that Becky was talking in character. Becky has always been very complimentary of other workers, other wrestlers. She's always been able to manage it with her character as a heel, but she's a professional. I do think there's some truth to it, like you said. I think the reality is the problem with AEW's women's division isn't the division itself, but how the division is presented to us. Whether it's poor booking, lack of time for booking, we're not being presented with the division at its best. It's whatever they can find time to squeeze in. Sometimes it feels like this week we got one women's match, a couple of other small segments, and if you compare that to NXT, I think there were like 24 women.
Yeah, 24 women.
24 women highlighted. That's, good on NXT, first of all. Congratulations to all those women, whether it was in a big segment or in a smaller segment. At least 24 women were highlighted. I don't think AEW's women have ever been presented in that number on Dynamite or Rampage, except for maybe like if they're all supposed to be on screen at the same time for something.
Yeah, or like a multi-women match or something. Yeah. You have like 3 of them, which doesn't happen ever because they get one match a week.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think Becky was doing what Becky needed to do, which was, WWE's women's division. We're the best division. I'm the best there is in any division. Like, that's what Becky is supposed to be doing. But I'm glad that she gave a little bit of a rub to Ruby Soho, because Ruby definitely needs a rub. And I wish that it wasn't true. Because, man, are there some incredibly talented women in AEW.
But like what she's doing, I think works better because calling them out in character, like riled a bunch of people up because, you have a bunch of marks, for lack of a better phrase. We're like, oh, this is real. And it wasn't, but because she got them all riled up, now like everyone's pissed and they want AEW to have a better women's division.
But the truth is, like, it's been a complaint about AEW since day one. So, other than now, maybe Tony Khan is going to claim that Becky is a bot who's criticizing AEW. I don't know what's going to change here. She's far from the first person to criticize it. She might be the most high-profile person to criticize it, but she's far from the first person.
Becky, 2 bots. So, like, I'm, I'm totally not biased here, but like you already said, she's just kind of right. And it's funny because like when I first read it, it was on a random wrestling pages like Facebook page, and said this before, but like if you're the kind of person to comment on one of these pages, you're stupid. Like you're dumb. You shouldn't be allowed to vote, and like your opinion is bad. Even if I agree with you, it's bad. Comment sections should be for memes and jokes. So I take back what I said a little bit. If you're someone who commented something that's just funny and a joke, good job. Otherwise, why are you getting so mad? Because I would see people get mad and they're like, oh, well, in terms of talent, they're pretty equal. And in terms of booking, they're pretty equal. And it's like, you could argue the talent thing, that's a little more subjective. But in terms of booking, it's not even close. And that's not to say that WWE always books the women's division so well. But like you just said, 24 women on NXT. We got 3 feuds on Raw in the women's division, singles feuds, not counting the 24/7 bullshit or the tag division bullshit. Sorry, not bullshit, but there's no teams.
No, I think you got it right. You got it right.
Easy criticism right there. Boom. There's no teams in the women's tag division, but like they're prominently featured. 2 of the highest profile matches at WrestleMania were women's match. Well, 2 of them, the most high profile matches were women's matches. One of them stole the fucking show, like debatably, but most people agree it stole the show. But like that's not going to happen in AEW. They're not, because they're not capable. Britt and Thunder Rosa stole the show when they were presented as main events talent. They steal the show. That's once in a blue moon. Once every 6 months or so. Do they really get a chance to show that? And like Becky said, we've complained about Ruby's not even bad booking, just lack of booking after the Britt feud ended. It's been literally nothing for her to do. And I think to have 2 like major points I want to make about it. One of them is just more of the way we kind of think that Tony Khan views women's wrestling. As someone who grew up a huge Ring of Honor fan and watches so much New Japan, it kind of makes sense why he doesn't know how to book women's wrestling. But to use Caitlin Olsen from It's Always Sunny as an example, she has in multiple interviews said that when she first joined the show, she almost quit because she felt her character was so stale and flat and lacked a personality compared to the guys, because they were written to be funny and she was written to be like the straight person or the moral compass of the show. And she didn't want to do that. She wanted to also be obnoxious and asshole and be funny. And the writers, like Mac, Charlie, and Glenn Howerton were all like, well, we don't know how to write a funny woman. And she was just like, don't write a funny woman, then just write a funny character and I'll play that character and I just happen to be a woman. And that's what AEW needs to do. Just book good wrestling stories and then just have those people happen to be women. Like it doesn't, you don't have, the stories don't have to be about them being women, which to their credit, that's not what they're doing. They fall into the trope that WWE and a lot of people do, where it's like, oh, the story is we're friends and now we're not friends. And that's the whole base of our story. But it's not that hard. I think it comes down to a lack of wanting to put in the effort, and we're not sure if they do. But the second point I want to make,
if I can just jump in really
sure.
quick.
Yeah, go for
it. Dustin Rhodes came out shortly after this, and he was like, "No, I want to put in the effort." Like he's been training a lot of these women, and he has been, with them a lot, for a lot. So he's really there for them getting more and more. He said this on it was Thunder Rosa's vlog. He was like, I want you ladies to get more. You have come from, maybe getting a small segment on Dynamite to getting at least a match. And I mean, not to be too flippant here, but maybe we get, out of Becky doing this, like, give AEW women a chance, just like the AEW version to give divas a chance, because like these girls, like the talent is there. We say this all the time. They just don't fucking get on television. It's ridiculous. And like you said, like the majority of time where they get the opportunity, they do well. And the crowd is, for the most part, behind it. So
I mean,
give them a fucking chance.
It's fucking crazy that Chris Statlander changes her whole character and doesn't get to wrestle and debut that character on fucking TV. Has to do it on fucking Dark. But one mini point before my next big point is that any like flack that Becky is really catching, again, these are from people who technically are real, but might as well not be because their opinions are dumb. But a lot of this is because, she is married to Seth Rollins, who doesn't address these situations very well in interviews. But to Becky's credit, in an interview a month ago that people don't talk about as much because there's no attention-grabbing headline to take from it, she did acknowledge that she watches AEW and she is a fan, like she watches all wrestling and she likes to keep up with everything. And she didn't have anything bad to say then, so no one was talking about it because, that's how dirt sheets and any sort of gossip sites would work. But
and podcasts on YouTube.
yeah, we got to. I'll complain about the system, but we're part of it, so we got to do it, But this is huge speculation on my part, a lot of conjecture here. But AEW, I think their lack of booking for the women's division, it's almost a self-fulfilling prophecy at this point, because I think they've cost themselves a lot of chances to bring over big names. Because I love Toni Storm. I love the potential of Athena joining at some point, and I love Ruby Soho. But they all got fired, or in Toni Storm's case, this is a little different. But they've been fired, or they've been let go, or they asked to get released, but they weren't the big names. There was a big name AEW could have pulled over to just center the whole women's division around and bolster it.
Can I guess?
Yes, go for it, James. I think you know.
I don't know, but I'm was it Sasha?
Yes, 100%. They could have gotten Sasha away from WWE. There's no way they're going to do it now. And it's not because of the money, even though it's a factor, but it's because I got to believe that a part of it is like, well, where else is there for me to go for Sasha? Like, I don't like it here right now, but they're not doing anything. Because especially around that time, like 2019, when, you have Sasha at her most disgruntled. And again, this is all hearsay. We don't know all the details, but, they've somewhat admitted that she was upset and they did throw a bit of a tantrum about losing the titles. But if they had just had a good women's division from the jump, they could have easily enticed her away. Her and Bayley were looking at FTR with fucking like hard eyes, like, oh my God, like these guys are the best. They're doing what we want to do right now with tag team wrestling. And and there was a chance. And I don't think that chance will ever come. And I don't think they'll ever get one of the big. They're not going to get any of the horsewomen. Like even Charlotte, as disgruntled and weird as she's been, like, even I would be like, bro, you're better than this division. Like, what are you doing here? Like this, like everyone of them. It'd be great to feud with Britt after that. It's kind of nothing.
To your point, though, and I'm not saying I agree with what I'm about to say, but it is a school of thought. Do you think that because Tony didn't, I think it's inarguable that Tony started with a well-established men's division. There were already built-in stars when he started AEW. Kenny Omega was a star. Chris Jericho was a star. Cody Rhodes, John Moxley was a star. I'm sorry. I like Cody. I'm just so hurt. They had stars. AEW didn't have that with the women, not really. Britt Baker was kind of well known, but I can't say anybody really gave a shit about Britt Baker before AEW. Brandy Rhodes, Awesome Kong was a name, but she wasn't someone you could build your division around at that point.
Wasn't B Priestley there for like a split second?
She wasn't really with them as much as she was wrestling for them, if I remember correctly.
I know she wrestled Britt, if I'm remembering correctly.
Kind of sounds like they dodged a real bullet with her. But beyond all that, is there an argument that because AEW doesn't really have a name, like a huge name, like they've made Britt Baker a big name, they've made Thunder Rosa more of a well-known name, but because they don't have a star of the caliber of a Charlotte Flair or a Sasha Banks or a Becky Lynch, that because they don't have those stars, they don't feel confident putting that much time into these women on television? I don't agree with it, but is that at least something to consider?
Well,
I think it is a factor, yeah.
I don't know. The other side of that coin is if you feel like that and you never put them on television, and you're never going to build a star.
Oh, I agree. I totally agree with that. But maybe it's an explanation, if not an excuse.
But I don't know. I don't buy that because, I mean, look at what they did with Wheeler Yuta the last couple of months. You tell me you can't do that for the women too? Put them on TV, establish some people, get them over. Like, you have the formula, Tony. Fucking use it. It's not that difficult to do the same thing you're doing for the women as you do for the men. You just got to give them the time. Yeah, I know I spoke really fast there, but this has got me fired up.
Also, and not to disparage people, but I'm going to disparage them. Like, you can sign fucking Tony Nese, but you still don't have Athena. You couldn't bring in Mickie James. You couldn't get the IIconics. There's a reason the IIconics went to Impact. There's
women's tag team division, women's tag titles.
If the women's division in AEW was good enough, they would have gone there despite there being no tag titles, and it just would have worked. Especially because if you go to AEW, you can go everywhere else too. So it's not like that was restricting them. There's a reason that the women who are leaving, whether they're big names or like medium names with potential, like there's a reason they're not going to AEW. That's why I was so happy about Tony Storm being there, because I'm not even that big of a Tony Storm fan, but it's like, finally, since Ruby, you've brought in like no one, and there's been people to get. Like, just
apparently they don't want Athena. That's the rumor, that they didn't want to go after her.
That's mind blowing. I don't understand, because there's no room for her. Like, okay.
I could maybe buy because they're worried about how injury prone she tends to be, but I would still sign her. I just, why not?
They got Darius, so they can't use that excuse. But
Jesus,
a poor guy.
Poor Darius. Just catching strays.
He can't catch a break, or he keeps catching breaks.
No, boo, boo, Danny.
You know what's weird though was when I was in the Reddit thread about Becky's comments, and it was like, oh, like look at WWE's women roster, and like then they listed all the top, like it was like the Horsewomen, and then Asuka, and then Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley, and I'm already at 7 people, and like Alexa when she's actually there. Like you can name like 10 people who are legit there. I need 2 more. Ronda Rousey, and you can even like someone like Nikki Cross is at least doing things over there. And they're like, yeah, Liv is a much better one. Thank you. Okay, yeah, I think that was like the 10 people they named. And if you look at AEW's women roster, you're like, oh, they don't have that talent. And the thing is, like, yeah, they do. They just don't get used, so they're not over the way those women are.
They're not.
Those women are over.
In terms of like wrestling ability, they got people who can do it, but to be fair, they don't have anyone besides Britt that can talk the way that 3 of the 4 horsewomen could talk. Like like Thunder Rosa is great. She's not a bad talker by any means. Ruby, I actually think Ruby has hit it out of the park every time she does get to cut it like an actual
She's
promo.
gotten better. She's gotten a lot better. I got to give her that credit.
It's a lot better when she's a little like more natural, like she was this past Monday when she just popped into that interview than when she goes out and like
she actually took over the interview. It was very, very nice to see. But what were you gonna say, James? Sorry, you gotta.
No. I think you were doing great, and I'm sorry if I interrupted, but I do think that there is a star in the making for them, and it's somebody we were all very hesitant about, but she's
Jade.
Jade is killing it. She has the best booking of anyone in the women's division, and I think
you know why she's killing it? Because they're treating her like a WWE talent.
Yep, absolutely.
She's green as fuck, like, and they're like, yeah, but we don't care because we like your look, so we're gonna push you. They literally, that's the WWE mindset, and look at it, it's fucking working.
I will say though, Jade is making the most of it. She no longer really feels like someone who doesn't belong in her spot. I think she's still very green and she still has a long way to go, but I am no longer rolling my eyes when she's there. I'm very excited when a Jade Cargill spot is happening now. And I'm very happy to say it was worth seeing her develop.
Yeah. She looks a lot more comfortable on television too.
Absolutely.
So
yeah, she carries herself like a star. So like the formula's there. And at the end of the day, yeah. Also, not to like, I don't want to go hardcore defending Becky, but sometimes what are you expecting as an interviewer when you ask these sorts of questions? Like, like sometimes
you're hoping for
a compliment, you're gonna get a boot, right? Like that's the saying. Like you're like, what is she gonna? And she was pretty gentle about it, all things considered.
I imagine this was probably tactical. She probably went, if I cut a promo here as, the man Becky Lynch or big time Bex against AEW's women's division, it'll give them the kick in the ass they need to hopefully get their shit together because I want to see them do well. It was probably a complete and total tactical decision by her.
Yeah, she said harsher things about Ronda and Charlotte's match being booked above her on the card at WrestleMania, so at the end of the day, like, as much as you guys keep saying this interview was in character, it didn't sound super in character, but the fact that she always does have that mindset of like, well, I am me, but there's not much character benefit from this. There's just an honest critique of something that's a critique that everyone has, but because she works for WWE, like, what a monster.
Fatal both.
Yeah.
Last thing to tie this off, I very much hoping that the Owen Hart Foundation tournament puts these women in a much more of a spotlight and it builds them up higher because the qualifying matches seem to have started that, and hopefully that just continues. But okay, James.
I'm sorry. Yeah, just the last bit. How crazy is it where we are now that we're hoping that an AEW women's tournament will highlight these women better when just not even a full year ago, we were saying, wow, look how AEW's TBS tournament is really showcasing these women in comparison to WWE's Queen of the Ring. And yet here we are saying, look how WWE is booking these women, and we wish AEW was booking them the same way. Crazy how time has changed.
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole Saudi Arabia around that, tournament, whereas AEW's excuse is Tony saying that we're wrong and that they do a great job booking their women's division. So
all right, let's move on because we spent a lot of time on that, but we're gonna stick with the women though. The aforementioned IInspiration / IIconics back in WWE have decided that they are going to indefinitely step away from wrestling. This sucks. I love them. I will always love them. But word on the street is they're pulling down a decent chunk of change over on their subscription service. So, James, I'm going to go to you here first again, just because you're our Impact guy. And I've only seen bits of what they were doing on Impact. I know they were champs, which was hype, but I would like to hear what you got about them and then what that means for the Impact women's division.
I mean, I hate to immediately interrupt you, James.
I don't think you do. I don't think you do.
No, I definitely do.
I
feel
love
so
when
bad.
Danny immediately interrupts when I go to James first. It's my favorite thing.
I feel so bad, James. I feel you have no idea. It's eating me up inside. But
It's okay.
are
It's
you
okay.
really the resident Impact guy? Because I haven't seen a fast forward in like 2 months. You know.
Got him.
It's because your Raw fast forwards are so intimidating. They're so good.
High production quality.
I can't keep up with you, man. I recognize that. And right now you're punching down a little bit. It's rude. You know, here I am, just a lowly Impact peasant, and I'm trying to compete with your Monday Night Raw budget. It's not fair, dude. You're coming across like Kurt Angle making a TNA joke on Raw to Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. It's below you. You have more dignity than that.
I guess in the sense that it was a throwaway joke, sure. You know what? You can have it. I guess at least that was an Impact joke, so I guess it ties in. Anyway, sorry to have cut you off. You seemed like you totally were going to say something, maybe. So
I don't know anymore. What are we talking about? No.
Cassie and Jeff.
I know. This really sucks for everyone involved, except for, I guess, the Inspiration themselves. Impact is losing out on two big stars. They were really anchoring their women's tag division. Right, they've been in a feud for a while now with the Influence, lots of eyes, but
because everyone's looking at them. That's what the subscription service is for.
I am both proud of you and ashamed in the same moment, in the same breath.
You look way more ashamed.
I'm trying not to be negative, but I hate you. Anyway,
You're welcome.
They've been a big deal since they arrived in the company. They went for those titles almost immediately. And I mean, if I am the Influence, if I am Cassie or Jess, and I am making $20,000 to $50,000 a month doing what they're doing, all the power in the world, just have fun. You know, take some time off. Don't take those bumps if you don't have to. Come back when you feel like coming back, not because you have to. So good for you guys if that's the case. And I hope we see the Inspiration back in a ring. Impact is good for them. If they feel like going back to WWE, or if WWE feels like taking them back, that'd be great. Finally, the WWE Women's Tag Team division can have a team in it.
If they don't immediately break them back up again.
Don't say that ever again. Or if, AEW decides to get off its ass and make a tag team division for their women, which we don't have to get into, I know. But
it's 25 minutes on that.
It does seem like it was amicable, which is great. It doesn't seem like there's any bad blood there. So I guess the forbidden door is open for them if they feel like going through it. But for whatever reason, this was a decision that was clearly on their terms, which, how nice is that, considering how their WWE exit wasn't on their terms?
Yeah. So I don't want to, okay, sorry. I didn't actually mean to cut you off.
No, it's just me. He needs to cut off.
I know. I already said I don't mean to cut you off before I cut you off, but sorry, bro. What were you gonna say?
Oh no, I was just gonna say I think I read somewhere that Jess was kind of talking about how she was, they were thinking about having kids and stuff, and not having to take all those bumps beforehand is very, is probably a bit of a smart thing considering all the health risks that come with that. So hey, look, if they want to get out, do their thing, make all their money on their subscription service, which you can clearly do. There was that report that came out a couple of days ago that the freaking Cash Me Outside girl made $52 million last year on OnlyFans.
How about that?
Go get your fucking paper, and not have to fall on your back every 25 times a week.
Yeah, fuck it, go for it. This is a bummer. This is really going to negatively affect my Impact viewing experience, but it just means I'm almost definitely not going to watch now. But
Damn.
I'll still watch your fast forwards, James. Not to bring that up again, but you know, I will say the inspiration were great from what I did see of them in Impact, and they were obviously great in WWE. And if we can, criticize WWE's women's division real quick, not that it's infallible or anything. Breaking them up was dumb, like we already said. It was mind blowing. But I will say, in almost a feel good way, it was kind of nice how Billie Kay did more than Peyton did as a single star when they broke them up so that Peyton can be a single star. That was kind of a feel good thing, for Billie, not so much for Peyton, but
that was such a good run for Billie. This is my headshot. This is my resume.
Trying to be part of the Riot Squad, getting all punk and fat. Great stuff. Like the second best thing to ever come out of the women's tag division.
She is so fucking funny. Like the both of them are great together, but like the Jess Billie was so fucking funny. The Kayla shit, like there's like a compilation of them running around with microphones. I talk about this, I think, every time we talk about that, but of them running around with microphones backstage at WWE, just fucking with people. And it's some of my favorite shit. And them fucking with Kenta back when he was a Deo Itami in NXT. Like they're just so naturally funny. It's gonna really suck to not have them on TV anymore.
I say they should just go to AEW and Billie can reunite with Ruby and just pick up where they left off. But yeah, it's sad they're gone, but it's weird too because I think they did Renee's podcast, and they were Peyton or Cassie was talking about how out of it she felt like the last couple months in WWE, like she just felt such a huge disconnect, and to the point where she almost felt like her last match with Asuka was going to be her last match before she ever got fired. So, it seems like the way her time ended in WWE did affect her, and it still might have been a lingering thing that did impact this decision. So, I'm sure we'll see them again at some point, whether it's for a short time or a long time. But in the meantime, sucks to watch Impact. Am I right?
I've got nothing.
I said, am I right, James?
I love Impact. I do. I'm happy. It's been good. I'm actually really upset that I missed their tapings in Poughkeepsie this weekend.
Why did you miss it?
I missed the pay-per-view because I was at NEW, which was a fun show. And I missed the next day of TV tapings because I didn't know they existed. I thought they were only in Poughkeepsie for that Saturday.
That sucks. Gotta read the fine print, dude. Also, check out the channel. We have some clips from James from the NEW show, so go check those out.
They didn't take it down, unlike Tony Khan. Not
no
over
music. No music.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, screw it. I got nothing else here. It sucks that they're gone, but is what it is. But let's go to somebody who's returning because Mustafa Ali is back on Raw, which was surprising considering all of the free Ali stuff and him not wanting to fucking be there anymore. So Danny, I'm going to go straight to you because I know you covered this on your rewind this week. So let's give us the lowdown.
Oh man, so this was actually pretty good, right? So Miz TV is like the worst talk show in history. It's been going on for too long. It's overexposed. It's usually bad. Miz is hosting it, which is already a bad start. But out comes Austin Theory, or just Theory. Yes.
I'm going to disagree with you on worst talk show ever because Dr. Oz existed. So I think that takes the cake.
I've never watched any Dr. Oz, but I could still semi-confidently say it's debatable. But
Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ.
Fucking hell. So, but this was a good episode of Miz TV because they had Theory, the new US champion, out. and they were, feeding each other's ego. But as a longtime wrestling fan, you might notice, the host of this talk show is hosting the talk show in his wrestling gear. There might be a match coming, but Austin Theory is a heel. They're not going to fight each other. Who's he going to face? And out comes Ali, Mustafa Ali, with, I think, new music. It's hard to tell because he's been gone for so long, but I'm pretty sure it was new music.
And he got his name back.
And last time he was there, he was on SmackDown. So he also, hey, I like the idea of the draft happening not on TV and not really happening. So I'm all for that. And he got a good pop. It took the crowd a little bit to realize who was coming out because, again, no one knows what his music sounds like. But when he got a welcome back chant, his character looked rejuvenated. I don't know for sure about the person because there's a couple reports going around. Maybe they've reached some sort of agreement. It doesn't seem like he's being punished. This doesn't seem like we are marching him out to job the shit out of him and then send him packing. This seems like hey, we have an idea. Does this work for you? And him saying this works for him. But the point is, he comes out, he interrupts, he starts talking some trash about Theory, a lot of trash about Miz, and oh boy, he sounds, one, like a real person and not like a scripted superstar, because he is an amazing talker, which will fly under the radar to anyone who only knows the Retribution stuff. But he got some good pops from the crowd. He got a welcome back chant, which is very... Asuka didn't get a welcome back chant, but she returned, But he got into it with Theory and The Miz, and they ended up wrestling The Miz, and he beat The Miz. Granted, it was via roll-up, but not like a schoolboy or a small package, like a more creative roll-up at least. So, yeah, it's a good start. He was over, he got a push, and then he got attacked by formerly known as Tommaso Ciampa, now just known as Ciampa, probably soon to just be known as Champ. Who knows? But so now he got brought back, and he immediately has so many plates spinning. He has a mini beef with The Miz. He wants to go after the U.S. title, Austin Theory, but now he has a feud with the freshly turned Ciampa. This is fantastic. And you could say that maybe it's not good that him and Ciampa are going to feud because they both need wins, but give up on Ciampa. Let that shit go now. He had his NXT run. It was amazing. It was borderline perfect. No more good stuff. That's all done. Forget about it. He's not Tommaso Ciampa anymore. He's just Ciampa.
What's happening?
He is a goner.
This is Danny's theory on NXT call-ups. If you had a good NXT run, you're going to be shit on the main roster and vice versa.
I agree. The science is there, but that doesn't mean we have to want it.
No, it's not. I'm not saying to want it. I'm saying to prepare yourself and accept it. And it's a hard pill to swallow. I'm just letting you know. Either way, you gotta swallow.
Like a good feud though. Him and Ali. I'm totally here for that feud.
I mean, I'm kind of the belief that Ciampa's going to lose, and that's going to lead to him going to Judgment Day.
They brought back Judgment Day?
Yep, they did. They did.
Such a bad name. Why not the Judgment? Why not the Judgment? So much better name.
Not so much better, but better.
Judge Edge presiding.
God, they're gonna figure out a bad way to fit his name. Anyway, great fucking stuff. Unbelievable. I'm excited for it. Raw was actually really good these past 2 weeks. So super excited for it. There's so much, and it's only 1 week, so we could be here in 2 weeks and be like, okay, well, that was pointless. But they gave him so much in some one appearance. They made him feel like a big deal. I can see him being the one to maybe take the title off Theory because it's the US title. Theory is probably going to move on to bigger and better things soon enough. But
I have my theory on that.
I'm the one making bad jokes.
Oh god. Anyway, That's just a theory, a shitty theory.
Hey,
But
hey, it's
oh, sorry, I don't.
that's not his
Actually, I don't
first
have
name.
I don't have strong opinions about game theory, but there's so much for him to do. He feels special. I'm trying to tread lightly around this. I don't know if I want to really say this, but his borderline felt like Cody-ish. Like he immediately had multiple plates spinning. He got to talk. He got to wrestle. He got presented like a mid-card Cody. If Raw's revolving around Cody, which it very much is right now, he was mid-card Cody this week. And you know what? I actually want to see him beat Cody, but that's a whole other personal thing that won't happen, but I want it to happen. I want him to, bring back the never brought out America and Face of America gimmick and beat Cody Rhodes for the right to America. I guess.
Awesome.
No, I don't know. I don't know if it's a good idea to call Mustafa Ali the American Nightmare. I don't know if that's a great way to go.
Probably not. But that'd be cool though. Like if he brought back the Face of America gimmick he didn't use and feuded with Cody, that'd be cool. I mean, that's probably neither here nor there anymore, but it sounds like a great idea. I almost said theory again. It sounds like a great idea. The intriguing shit for his return though is all like the backstage stuff because he was fucking pissed at them. Like he was so mad at WWE. All he did was want out. He started his own hashtag for it, and now he's back. So it's cool. Like I don't know. Like you said, Danny. Like I guess like he, got pitched an idea or he pitched something to them, and they all agreed it was going to work, and he came back. But just the fact that it went from where he was to where they are now, that he can show up on TV. I get, it's a good thing. We got Mustafa back on TV and wrestling again, so that's always a good thing.
Yeah,
but I guess he's in a better spot.
I mean, without a doubt, not being on TV, and he's definitely in a better spot. But again, to speculate and to theorize, I gotta make the connection because I really wanted him to show up in AEW because I wanted him to fucking flex on the roster there and show how good he is at wrestling and at cutting promos. But
that would have been so good.
If you can do it in WWE, that's good too. And you could look at this more strategically too. If this was a different time, I think WWE just lets him go and lets him go to AEW, and then they just let out the reports. So Mustafa Ali was difficult to work with, like they did with Keith Lee or Bray Wyatt or FTR this past week. Like they would have done that, but now it's like, hey, we're kind of changing the tide here a little bit. We got Cody. Like if we can take this disgruntled guy and make him happy again, like it's just, I think WWE is almost booking from a PR stance where they're like, we got to book Cody strong because we want to entice guys like MJF and so on to come over and when their contracts are up. Like we got to show that our disgruntled guy, we got to make him happy so it looks good so that we can entice whoever to jump ship. So, it could be that. And again, that's just me theorizing, but
you make a good point. Like,
I don't think it happens.
Yeah, you make a good point because if they're not playing nice with certain people on the roster, other people are going to see that in AEW and in other places, and they're gonna be like, I don't want to go there. I can end up like Mustafa, just sitting around doing nothing, because either creative doesn't have anything for me, or I'm like legitimately fighting creative at the moment. So like them playing nice with him and getting something done is really, really smart from a business standpoint. So.
And the other name that's almost kind of an example of this tight end is Kevin Owens. Owens could have easily left at the end of the year last year and fit right into AEW. There was spots waiting for him with his fucking name on it.
Mount Rushmore.
They enticed him back. And you know what? From our perspective, we're happy about how he's been used, or him just being the guy that jobs the old timer. But for him, shit was fantastic. Like that was one of the highlights of his career.
To speak, I'm sorry, Danny, but I actually really agreed with what you said on your fast forward. Like, Kevin Owens is in a perfect spot right now. He's going to be presented strongly every week. He's like you said, he's probably not really going to win the big one, at least not anytime soon. But he's going to be presented strongly, consistently every week. And
he doesn't have to win the big one.
He doesn't have to. The man main evented WrestleMania with Stone Cold Steve Austin. He main evented WrestleMania with Stone Cold Steve Austin. You know who else gets to say that? The Rock and Shawn Michaels. That's it. 3 men have main evented.
And also, too, let's not forget that this is a guy who admitted to throwing a ceramic mug through a wall to try to get a glass break to do a Stone Cold Steve Austin's entrance with one of the figurines at the age of 17. So, in probably one of the greatest wrestling clips of all time.
Yeah. So he got to live
he was very happy with doing that.
Yeah, he got to live out a childhood dream. And now, even better than that, he's feuding with Ezekiel. He's Ezekiel's first feud in wrestling. Like,
and he's making that feud.
Bro, there's nothing he can do in AEW that's better than that. Like, there's absolutely nothing. Because you know what? He wouldn't have won the big one in AEW either. There's literally no room at the top for him. He would have been maybe doing what Adam Cole's doing, like just losing to Hangman. He would never be champion in AEW or world champion in AEW.
That's a tough one. That's a fun what if. Kevin Owens.
Oh, Kevin Owens.
8 months ago, I would be like, oh, he definitely would. Now, who knows? It's hard to see if even like Bryan or Punk will ever be champion. Like it is insane now. I don't know if Adam Cole will ever be champion anymore. Like who knows? It's harder to say now.
I mean, Hangman's just going to be champion forever at this rate. He's going to beat everyone in the AEW roster, and then it's going to come down to the super show of Roman Reigns versus Hangman Adam Page.
Versus Okada.
Yeah. No, that was good. That's true.
No, Owens is, I know we're going to get a little off topic here. Owens 100% making that Ezekiel feud. I don't think if they had anybody else trying to sell this, it would work. He's just so perfect.
Who?
Sammy's in.
Oh, the conspiracy. But I mean, look who you're talking. Like those two men are like two sides of the same coin. But
I think it's slowly going to lead to them reuniting over this.
I know. We can switch real soon because I don't know Kevin Owens here, but I would low-key love if we've all been waiting to see who Kevin Owens is going to win his tag title with and become a Grand Slam champion. I would love it if it's somehow Ezekiel. Like, it's not Sami Zayn. It's not Seth Rollins. He becomes a tag team champion and a Grand Slam champion thanks to Ezekiel. I think that's the perfect way for this to go.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to start a whole tangent because we kind of had this conversation in our group chat, but we shouldn't make everyone Grand Slam champions, right?
Are you saying Kevin Owens doesn't deserve to be a Grand Slam champion?
No, I have no problem with him being it, but like it's not special anymore. It's like whatever at this point.
Are you saying that because the Miz is Grand Slam champion?
Two-time
Grand Slam champion. No, but at least it makes sense. Miz has been there for fucking 2 lifetimes, too many. Like for the guys who have just been like, I don't know. It just, especially when it doesn't mean anything. Because like I said, Miz has had at least 2 good mid-card title runs, and I'm sure 1 good tag title run.
Morrison, yeah. Miz and Morrison was a good tag title run.
Yeah. Which time? But yeah, I agree, I guess. But
is Finn one? Is he tag team?
Don't do this.
Off the Grand Slam?
Yeah.
He is just a tag team title win away from being the worst Grand Slam champion in history.
I asked you not to do it, Nick. I really didn't want to do this.
Here
we are.
I love Finn Balor.
I'm now remembering we
better
also
than the
said
Miz,
this in the chat.
He wouldn't be a better Grand Slam champion than the Miz.
Kayfabe wise, he's not wrong.
Did Jack Swagger win the tag titles with Cesaro at any point? Did the Real Americans win the tag titles?
I don't think so.
Because I really want to then think that Swagger could like make a run for worst Grand Slam champion.
Nope. Has he won the Intercontinental title?
He won the
US title.
Yeah, you're right. He'd only be a triple crown. Holy shit.
I mean, he was a better world champion than Finn, technically, you know.
A longer reign does not make a better reign. I'd say
I agree, but when the reign's one day, you know.
Kane had a 1 day reign, and I'd say it was better than fucking Swagger's reign.
And I would say that I'm still not over that, and that's like the worst thing Stone Cold has ever done, ever.
Just
you know,
on Swagger, he's got the world heavyweight, the US, and the ECW championships. That might be what you're thinking of.
At certain points, that ECW title was at the same level as the world title, and at other points lower than the NXT title.
Okay, you know why I don't have a problem with the Swagger winning the world title? Because for some reason I just arbitrarily just picked him to win that ladder match before WrestleMania, and I was like, oh, cool. All right, I was right. So
I will never forget being at that Mania, and I'm a kid at that point, and I'm like, I really think Jack Swagger is going to win this match, and everyone around me in the crowd looked at me like I was fucking crazy. And then when he won, I like, this is pre Brooklyn Nine-Nine, the vindication meme. But man, if I could have, I would have channeled Andre Brower right there.
So yeah, Finn Balor, because I mean, let's really break it down real quick. He lost, he had to vacate the Universal title, right? That's terrible. Also, the match was marred by, the unveiling of the Jam Belt. Let's not forget that.
The fruit roll.
I was at that SummerSlam. Yeah, the crowd we didn't give a fuck about the match because that belt was fucking dumb. It's not any less dumb now, but it is blue.
It's blue now.
But it is blue.
So that's bad. He won the Intercontinental title off of Lashley, I believe, at WrestleMania. And then he lost it like the next pay-per-view to Nakamura, like uneventfully. So it wasn't a terrible reign, but it wasn't a good reign because it was a nothing reign. And then he won the US title off of Damian Priest for no reason before Mania. Didn't appear at Mania at all. Lost 8 matches in about one night.
Including the armbar.
And then lost the US title clean to Austin Theory, which he should. But that's only because he's lost so much that I actually can't believe that he could even beat Austin Theory in kayfabe.
Do you think Finn's WWE career could be saved?
Yes.
No. I think this past 2-month run is unsavable at this point.
So not even like if he has a tag, I think we're all in agreement. We're probably getting an AJ Finn tag team. And
that will be fun, and that'll be the best thing he's done on the main roster, and then that'll be it. It's like a nice way to ride off into the cloudy sunset.
So what do you think Finn's best move is? Do you think Finn going to AEW is a good move for everybody involved? Do you think him going to New Japan?
He should start an OnlyFans, I think, and he'll make bank.
He'd probably make 20 to 50K.
I mean, if Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson are to be believed, he is packing only Batista can challenge this man for the mightiest of dongs.
They do call him Big Dick Hoot, right?
Yep, Big Dick Hoot. He was just tearing through women and tearing through, as they like to call, ring rats in Japan.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it would be cool to see him in AEW. It would be cool to see him go back to Japan. He can stay in WWE. It's just
Bullet Club War.
He'll get another couple of mid-card title runs. He'll have some fun stuff, I'm sure, but he'll never be a main eventer again.
I wish he could get out of his contract now and team with the Tongans again with GOD. since they got kicked out of Bullet Club and they have to like go in and try to take over again against Jay White and shit. Oh,
I think the only feud bigger than Kenny Omega versus Jay White or Kenny Omega versus Adam Cole would be Finn Balor or Prince Devitt versus Jay White.
yeah, or just
think,
all of them.
Ugh.
Just, anything that surrounds Bullet Club for me is just give it to me, just straight into the veins.
I'm right there with you.
You could argue that. You could argue that Finn Balor is the worst booked leader of Bullet Club in WWE history.
Well, yeah, there's only been two, so it's him and AJ.
Yeah, or I just Bullet Club member, not period, because now the Good Brothers were there. Well, Adam Cole was booked better.
Yeah, Adam Cole. I don't know. Were the good? I mean, was Finn booked better than the Good Brothers?
Yes, that he was. Yes,
I don't know. That's true. They were multi-time tag team champions.
Finn
that
getting
literally
hurt,
nothing.
Finn getting hurt completely derailed his career.
Yeah,
when
that's the thing is, title. If he doesn't get hurt, none of what I just said is true.
Yeah,
like, he has an amazing career if he doesn't get hurt.
Let's play a fun game then, or a very sad game.
Sure.
If Finn Balor doesn't get hurt, what happens to his title reign? Because him getting hurt led to Kevin Owens becoming Universal Champion. Him becoming Universal Champion led to the epic feud of him and Chris Jericho. Granted, it kind of ended on a downer because of the Goldberg of it all.
And you got Seth and Triple H out of that too, because that when Kevin won the title, Triple H turned on Seth.
That happens regardless.
Yes, I agree.
It does happen at some point, but the way it happened was pretty cool.
Yes, it did. It totally did. But now, who does Finn Balor drop the title to? Does he get squashed by Goldberg? Which sucks. I think everybody could agree. At least with Kevin Owens' character kind of leads itself to not being destroyed by what happens with Goldberg. But if that happens to Finn Balor, I don't know if there's a recovery. Or does Kevin Owens win the title from Finn Balor in the middle of all that?
I don't think a lot of this stuff. I don't think the Lesnar Goldberg rematch is for the title in that case.
Really?
Yeah, because if Finn doesn't get hurt, they're pushing him as the face of Raw. Like, they were never pushing Owens as the face of Raw. He was the emergency plan. So it's like, yeah, the title's up in the air at that point. It could be whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
I think we get Finn Roman at Mania. Who did Roman face at that Mania? Is that Undertaker?
Yeah, that's not changing. That's not.
So who was WWE champion at WrestleMania 34? Was that AJ Nakamura?
That was what, WrestleMania 33 or
Orlando?
33. This was 33, and yes, it would be Orlando.
Yeah,
because that's when the Hardys came back.
Yeah, yeah. So that's Nakamura, AJ, and Owens Jericho went for the U.S. title.
So who was WWE champion at 33?
I think you are right.
The title match?
I think it was AJ and Nakamura, but let's look it up together.
I thought that was 34. I thought that was the New Orleans. I could be wrong though.
I can't remember if it was blue or purple. This is what the internet's for.
Oh no.
Are we all just completely wrong?
Oh,
what?
No. The WWE title match was Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt.
Oh, it's that one.
There you go. Lesnar and Goldberg could be for that title. That doesn't happen.
We completely blocked that out of our minds because that was the one with the
cockroaches, the bugs.
Well, I was gonna say the maggots, but that was also the one with the sperm snake for Randy's entrance because that ramp was so long.
It's messed up to say, but so many people benefited from Finn Balor getting hurt.
In a weird way, yeah.
Like, not that you ever wish that, and I'm not happy about it, but Luke Harper got highlighted because of the Bray Wyatt Randy Orton feud. Granted, it led to nothing, but he got highlighted.
I mean, I don't think you can directly say that any of the stuff on SmackDown happened because Finn Balor got hurt. I was just asking because I was going to say, like, Lesnar Goldberg could have been for either title. It didn't matter. Like, could have been for no title.
At that point, was SmackDown on Fox?
No.
I don't think then that you have Brock Lesnar and Goldberg for the WWE title because they're not going to waste it on SmackDown. On what channel was it on?
It was on
they could just have the title on Raw. It doesn't matter. It didn't matter that. It doesn't matter now, clearly, but like,
Yeah.
Wasn't it SmackDown Live on Tuesdays? Like, wasn't that?
But it wasn't
that
USA. It wasn't USA.
yeah, it was
SmackDown was
USA.
on USA at
Was
the
it?
time. Yeah,
Yeah.
it wasn't on Sci-Fi anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, it was on USA for a while before the Fox deal.
Once
All
they
right,
went
fair
live,
enough.
it went to USA.
Fair
on
enough.
Tuesdays, I believe.
I think
So,
Finn is like, Finn would be like, have AJ Styles' career, basically. Like, he would be a multiple-time world champion and always be somewhat protected and pushed towards the top of the card if he doesn't get injured, honestly.
But you were right though. When they gave him that title, they were pushing him to the moon to be
He
the
beat
face of
Roman
Raw.
clean.
I
On
know.
his
Roman
first
clean.
night. On his first night.
And they were going to have the demon still, and that's just fucking free merchandise. So, you know, the amount of money they would have brought in with him, he would have been like, you know, Roman levels and probably doing like Jeff Hardy levels of merch sales, and he would have been perfect. But Vince gave up on him because he got the injury at the worst possible moment, and he just hasn't done, he's barely done shit since.
Yeah.
Honestly, one of the best what ifs in, I don't want to say in wrestling history, but like at least the last 15
Recent
years.
wrestling history.
Yeah, 10,
recent
15
wrestling
years.
history. Oh boy. We love you though, Finn. We really
Yes.
do.
No, I am still a huge Finn mark, and all of his booking for the last, well, it's probably since then, has disappointed me greatly.
Well, I mean, his NXT booking was great.
Yeah, oh yeah,
Both
when he went
times,
back to
both
NXT,
times,
yeah. I meant WWE proper, not NXT. I almost consider those two characters at this point. Like,
Sorry, I know we gotta wrap it up, but like, man, remember when like him and Bailey were like the two faces of NXT, and there would always be videos of like dark segments from NXT shows where they would be like pranking each other or doing something.
yeah, do it like
Fun. It
dressing
was
up
just-
as each other and doing
And we're
their
just like,
entrances.
these two are like the faces, the future of the company, like, you know, and
Yeah, just like the two top baby faces of NXT, and they were just perfect at it.
It
And
honestly feels like a lifetime ago, like a wrestling
It was.
lifetime ago.
Yeah.
it was.
that Finn Balor's champ, and then post Sasha, Becky, Charlotte NXT era was just, that was like the I feel like the start of the black and gold brand as we came to know it eventually. You know, I think pretty much started when they went to Brooklyn. Not to say those takeovers before that weren't great, but like when they went to Brooklyn, that was a serious turning of the corner.
I'd say the black and gold brand found its identity with Sami Zayn winning the title from Pac
I
/
could agree with that.
formerly known as Neville.
Yeah,
And then Kevin Owens coming in, which was coinciding around Finn Balor debuting in NXT.
yeah.
So I don't know.
No, I'm just saying, like, yeah, that's when it went from like developmental to like, this is a really good fucking wrestling show. And then Brooklyn was when it went from this is a really good fucking wrestling show to, like I said, it turned the corner and became like the popular, really good fucking wrestling show.
Yeah.
Because that's when they were like, we're gonna out indie the indies on the biggest scale.
It was such a good brand.
Yeah, Requiescat and Pache, black and gold.
What else? What else do we got to talk about that can make me happy?
That can make you happy?
Oh, no, that's
Because I'm sad right now. What can make me happy?
on that sad note, we might as well wrap it up. Right?
Yeah, I mean, the only other thing we were considering or talking about was Adam Cole, but I mean, if you want to be happy, I don't know if we should go in that direction. All right, so you know what? Well, that's an evergreen segment, so we could save it for next week. So
we're teasing you guys.
Yeah,
we're teasing you.
Yeah, a little teaser for you guys next week, so tune in. So in order to do that, please subscribe to us, the Mark It Down Podcast, and like this video. Check out the links in the description for all of our social medias. Also, we are getting really, really close to 100 subscribers, and we are already starting to figure out beats. And James is writing his lyrics, so he will rap when we get there. We promise, with some green hair.
I will try. I will definitely try.
It'll be the most awkward thing, and I can't wait for it. So for Danny Hernandez and the aspiring rapper James Gisante, I'm Nick Cummings. Thank you so much for watching, and we will catch you here next time on the Mark It Down Podcast. Have a good one, everyone.